Welcome to The Skeptic and the Pastor, conversation between two friends about life, differences, and everything in between.
All right, backup's going. Are we live right now?
We are live, back at it.
Episode number 7. Hopefully we will come through with the correct professional audio recording this time.
Yeah, man, definitely.
I'm sure we will.
Yeah, so if you listened to the last episode, Rob explained what was going on. We learning curve, man, working with audio, and just lost the audio files, and thank God we had a backup, man, because you would have missed out. And so yeah, but man, life's been a little bit crazy, you know. Speaking of, since we released that episode, it just felt like, I came that night to work the audio, and I'm like, man, it's gone. And I'm like, Rob, you got the backup? And then, it's just like, fast forward, here we are almost 2 weeks later. And, my life's just been crazy, man. But anyway, we'll get more into that, I guess. But yeah, today's episode, we're just kind of catching up. So I think it'd be a good place to start would just be like, what's been going on in the world of Rob for the last couple of weeks?
World of Rob for the last couple of weeks. Like you touched on, just life nowadays just goes by so fast, man. And I think a lot of times I end up feeling like I'm just spinning my tires. We'll get into all that because we didn't, like, the topic for today is the insane pace of modern life. Yeah. And just trying to, keep afloat. But anyway, so I guess I won't digress down that rabbit hole yet. Life of Rob, working. I guess last time I recorded, I was starting to get sick, and that was I made that big coming out claiming I had developed like a chemical addiction to kratom, which I still think I did. Yeah. Talking to our buddy James, my good friend James Wilson, he's a pretty smart dude. Yeah. And he's real good at stepping back and being very analytical about things. Yep. And he shared a good viewpoint with me that, maybe I did develop a chemical dependency on kratom, but that's not the root cause of my problems. Yeah. And I didn't even plan on bringing this up, but this kind of goes into the topic of today really well. Like, the root cause of my problem is probably just the lack of sleep and trying to do too much. Yeah. Because that's the name of the game, man. I always feel like I'm missing out. I feel like I can always do more. Yeah. I always need to work out more or work harder, do this, do that, And so, and the older we get, we're both 40 years old. I'm coming up on 41. You need sleep. Yeah, you got to take care of your body. And there's a lot of days, like, I get home from work late. If I put in a 12, 13, 14-hour day, I don't get to bed till 11 o'clock at night. Dude, my alarm goes off at 5:30, 5:15 every morning. I'm up. Yeah. Getting back after it. And you can only do that so many days in a row before the wheels come off things. Yep. And so I have a tendency to do that, run myself into the ground. So that's kind of where I was 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So, man, I've been just as busy. But I've been kind of in recuperating mode because I ended up kind of getting sick a little bit. I had that cough. Everybody around town seems to be getting sick right now. One of your girls is sick.
Jada's feeling sick right now.
So I was kind of recovering from that. Like, last weekend, dude, I didn't even train. I didn't train Friday night, Saturday, or Sunday because I really wanted to rest up. I had a backcountry skiing trip planned for Monday. Just this past Monday, I went down to Silverton Mountain. That was amazing.
It sounds epic.
That was so cool. So I was resting that whole week since we talked. I trained that weekend we recorded. Then I got progressively worse that week, and then come Friday, I was still kind of sketchy. I was like, man, I have got to rest, because you hire a guy to do this backcountry skiing, and it's a couple $100. And you can't. I don't want to cancel. Yeah. And we went. Me and Adam went, and I didn't want to bail on him last minute. Yeah. And throw the money away. So I was like, man, I got to rest so I'm physically capable of doing this, because it's a strenuous activity. Yeah. You're out, you only get 5, we did 5 runs, but every run, like, you take the chairlift up to, 11,500 feet, give or take, in that ballpark. And then every run you do is a hike.
So you're above tree line.
Oh, yeah. I used to, where the base of Silverton Mountain is starting above tree line.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you're up there a long ways. And the first run we did, it was just a quick throw your skis over the shoulder, walk like 5-10 minutes. I wouldn't even really call it a hike. But then the next one we did was like an hour-long hike, 40 minutes to an hour. I didn't really keep track of the time, just kind of estimating. And, that's where, you hook your skis into your backpack so you don't have to carry them, and you're marching up this mountain in your ski boots. And, dude, we get up to where we're going to put our equipment on and ski down, and there's 6 of us in the group, plus the guide, so there's 7 people. And we're all we're on this little ridge to where if you were to tumble down either side without your gear on, you're going to go a long ways, and you're going to be in trouble, dude.
Man.
It's not going to be good.
Yeah.
And so we're all up there trying to be real careful, getting our skis on. And that was like the name of the game for the rest of the day. Then the next time we did, and probably a shorter 20-30 minute hike. And then we did just like a 5-minute one, kind of gave our legs a break, but it was a good run. And then the last run of the day, like I'm pretty physically fit, dude, Adam tapped out in after run number 4. Like his legs were, like his quads were cramping up on the little walk and on the ski down. Like he was struggling. He's like, I'm out. And the rest of us went up for one more. And dude, no exaggeration, man. We did like a 15-20 minute hike for the last run, and every step, like the inner head of my quad muscle, like sort of towards the inside of your thigh, like just above your knee, dude, was just like pulsed, like you were putting like electrodes in it, and just like almost cramping. Every single step, like just, I was like, oh, dude, I got to ski down this mountain yet. But I made it. Like about halfway up to the hike, it stopped trying to cramp, and I made it. But it was an amazing experience.
Man, that sounds like it. I mean, I'm not an avid hiker, but the adventure of that makes me think, man, I would love to do something like that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't sound like the kind of skiing trip a novice guy goes on.
No, it's not set up for novices. If you can't ski pretty good, you can't go. Yeah, like it'd be a bad deal.
Yeah, Mary and some of her cousins, man, that would be their gig because in fact, I think about her cousin Isaac who loves to ski, and that would probably be one of those things he would totally be into because he loves adventure, he loves skiing. I mean, it's just one of those things that sounds like it's right up his alley. I mean, he recruited a group of us cousins to do a Tough Mudder, and he's done like 6 or 7 of them. So that's kind of his adventure. Definitely is on the top of his bucket list of things to do, and so that sounds like his world there.
Heck yeah, dude! Yeah. And they also at that same place at Silverton Mountain, they offer helicopter skiing.
Oh wow!
And we could add, we hired a guide for the day. You could have added like one helicopter drop. And they take you to a different part of the mountain that you can't really access. I mean, you could if you want to do some serious hiking. It's going to be a little much, You could do like one helicopter drop for like another $180 or $200 or something. But if you can hire the helicopter for the whole day, so you get like 6 helicopter runs. Yeah, I'm thinking about saving up the money to do that next year.
That would be cool, man.
So you're out there on this mountain, and the whole day, because they limit it. They don't just sell lift tickets. Like I think I would have to guess 50 to 60 people on this whole mountain.
Wow.
All day. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's counting the guides and everything. And
so I mean, it's a pretty exclusive thing.
Yeah, and then you got helicopters flying around. You hear them coming, and you see them off in the distance dropping skiers off. Like, dude, yeah, it was an awesome experience.
That's cool, man. That sounds like it. Yeah. So that was pretty. You rested up for that. You were feeling sick, rested up for that, and then ended up doing that epic day up there.
Yeah, that was Monday. That was just this past Monday. So today's Friday. Yes, and I came back and the rest of the week, actually, because I had that nasty cough, but being up at that elevation and really working, I mean, I was coughing a little bit, but it almost like it cleared it out of my system.
Yeah.
I mean,
dude, you probably burnt how many calories, man?
Dude, my gosh. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
But so then the rest of the week, I've just been at work and just normal life stuff.
Yeah.
My dog hurt himself. I had to take him, kind of had an emergency yesterday morning.
Really?
And I had to take him to the vet. Just life, just like we're going to talk about today. Just, just things go sideways on you.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of it. That kind of is a good, lead into kind of just the pace. That's it, man. We're talking about kind of the pace of life, and I'm personally really, really feeling that pace thing. Normally I'm trying to get into the gym several times a week. I go in at noon, but man, I'm hitting Monday will be 3 weeks since I've been in the gym, but needless to say, man, I mean, the pace that I'm on right now is just so fast paced. My family and I just moved into a new house. In fact, here we are kind of recording for the first time in what will be, it's got pink walls right now, man. This is an amazing space. If you follow me on on my YouTube channel at all, I'm going to be shooting some video in here that showing it what it is.
Show the progress of it. Yeah.
It's, but anyhow, we're getting settled into a new place. And, part of that whole transition was, that we moved out, had 10 days before we could move into the new place. So we had to move out, move our stuff into storage and into friends' houses and wherever else every nook and cranny you can think of. And then 10 days out of our house, and we're a family of 5, family of 5 plus 4 dogs, and a guinea pig. Can't forget the big guinea pig.
Kosa.
Yeah, Kosa. Yeah. And so you can't forget the guinea pig. But yeah, so we're displaced for 10 days. And then we got to get all our stuff back out of storage and get it here to the new place. And in the middle of getting it here to the new place is also not a move-in ready house. So we're pulling carpet, we're, having carpet installed, we're painting rooms. I mean, this is a good example. This room is got all kinds of funky paint and, and so, yeah, you're diving right into painting to, just that fast pace.
And all the other stuff in life doesn't get put on pause while you're doing that.
No.
So you still got school and work and other obligations.
Yep. And that was it, man. That was thankfully I did take a little bit of time off of work, but not completely checked out. Did get a couple of days where I was okay, was able to focus on this, but man, I definitely had, church life, work life. I mean, it's still going. And then, for those of you that don't know, I decided last year to go back to school. And so I'm back in school. I'm finishing up my bachelor's degree and I'm on the home stretch kind of, but this week was okay, there's going to be late assignments this week. That's just what it is, And so sure enough, deadline comes Sunday evening and I'm not even thinking about those assignments. And in fact, today's Friday. This morning, I turned in my last late assignment, and there's still a whole group of assignments due Sunday night. So yeah, that's the pace though, and that's kind of what we're talking about. The pace of modern day life, and a lot of times we do it to ourselves. You mentioned
most of the time we do it to ourselves.
You mentioned early on about being driven and kind of running yourself ragged type thing. And I find myself doing the same thing, even what's crazy is I feel like I've been eating a lot of food, you're in transition. And then one of the things you end up eating when you're doing this is a lot of pizza. Yep. Because
you don't have time to
have time to cook. Yep. You eat pizza, and I'm pretty I love pizza, but I try to limit my pizza intake. But this week I've been oh yeah, sure, pizza. It feels like, and the funny thing is my scale's been packed away for a couple of weeks. I jump on it and I'm lighter than I've been, and I'm dude, I haven't worked out. I'm eating pizza. So that's the key. If you're wondering, just kidding. That's a joke. But what it's an indicator of though, is the fact that from sun up to sun down, I've been grinding, not realizing it, but the pace is so extreme that I'm not working out and I'm not eating right and I'm losing weight, not intentionally, and I'm not starving myself at all. And I realized man, dude, that is a heavy pace that I've been on. And so the question really becomes for all of us is, how do we cope with that? How do we manage, that kind of a pace? And I have a ton of thoughts about that. I think the first thought that comes to mind, before I lose the thought is that, you know, there are seasons of being out of balance and there are seasons of really, you know, being all in, whether it's a move to a new place or, you know, or it's a specific task you're working on at work. There are seasons of being kind of extreme and out of balance and running that fast pace. But if you don't realize that it's a short season and you try to sustain that, man, you're going to burn out.
Yep.
And burnout shows up in a lot of ways. You know, last night, I think I hit a wall. I was doing homework and it was about 11 o'clock or so. And I'm trying to get this one more assignment done. And literally I could see the finish line. There's like 6 questions and they're not very difficult ones. It's a nutrition class, by the way. Nice. And so I'm like 6 questions and my eyes just will not stay open. And I'm like, finally, I just did one of those things that you probably do as a kid. Like, I'm just going to shut my eyes for a few minutes. Yeah, 5:30 came pretty early.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gone. You know, I could not physically keep myself awake any longer. And that's a sign of burnout, you know. Yep. So, yeah.
Well, and then that's, you know, those signs of burnout, they'll manifest themselves in all sorts of ways. I mean, physically, you know, your body will just maybe get sick, you know, this or that, mentally, emotionally. You know, you'll find yourself really irritated with things that usually aren't that irritating to you.
I was grumpy last night.
Oh, yeah, snapping at your loved ones. I
snapped at my wife a little bit. I'm like, why'd you do that? And then I realized this morning, I'm like, man, that was all me. I was just grumpy. Yep. And so sorry, Mary. I already said sorry, but I'm taking the opportunity to do it public. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I do that to myself all the time too. I get into this unsustainable pace, and you know, my meathead side comes out, and I just think to myself like, no, I can do this. Yeah, just suck it up.
Yeah,
you know, there's people out there doing more than you are. You know, just suck it up. That's what I think all the time. And dude, I struggle with that. Like the whole, I mean, because we could have a whole podcast about balance.
Yeah,
you know, balance in life. Like, dude, to me, it's almost like a toxic word, because do you want balance in your life or do you want excellence?
Yeah. It does feel like it's a choice.
It is a choice.
Yeah.
It is a choice.
Yeah.
I don't care what, I'll argue with somebody. It is a choice. Do you want to be excellent, like a way above average at something? Or do you want to live a balanced lifestyle?
Yeah.
You're not going to have it. You can't, in this day and age, you can't have both.
No.
Because there's going to be someone out there putting more time into this thing you're trying to be excellent at.
Yeah.
And if you think you're going to live, like say, you know, I'm coming from like a sports world,
yeah,
you know, jiu-jitsu world. Say you think you want to be a world champion at jiu-jitsu, but yet you want to have, you know,
pizza every night,
family fun time and movie night, and go here on the weekend. There's not time for that. And
that's a great analogy.
Yeah, I struggle with that a lot. Just balance, like, because you hear that as a kid. Oh, you should try to live a balanced lifestyle. And I always come back, you should try to live a balanced lifestyle if you want mediocrity. If you want to settle with being average and mediocre at everything, go ahead.
Yeah.
But if you want to be great at something, guess what? You better be unbalanced at times.
Yeah. It's true.
But see, dude, I don't have any good answers for this, because that's where I struggle, man.
Yeah.
I struggle because I always have that fear of missing out, or fear I'm not doing enough.
The FOMO.
The FOMO. And I don't have any good answers. I usually just run myself into the ground.
And then you realize.
Yeah, I realize, but then I'll do it again.
Yeah.
I'll recuperate for a couple weeks, and I'll run myself into the ground again, because I'm kind of a knucklehead like that.
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, and for me, this is like a topic that I got to say I'm a little bit passionate about it, man, because I think that there is seasons of out of balance for sure. Like I'm driven, you know, but there's seasons of out of balance. But I think that, you know, really taking care of yourself, resting and balancing is important as well. So it is a double-edged sword, you know, like in one sense you're saying, hey, you really want to be excellent at something. The other sense you're realizing, hey, I want to try to live this balanced life. So for me, what I come back to is that I think it's critically important for humanity, period, to have these moments of built-in rest. In fact, the Bible even speaks to this. It talks about the Sabbath. And really the Sabbath, going back to a biblical story, you're like, okay, you think of creation, and then it says on the seventh day the Lord rested. Well, he wasn't tired, not from an understanding. If you're a theist and you think of God and you think of, he doesn't need rest. He's not taking a nap. And so what he was instituting is a principle for humans, that we would understand the value of rest. And, so we get it to a degree. We rest every night, or we try to, and some, sleep longer than others. But we try to honor that. But that principle of Sabbath is so key. And so seasons, but in really trying to honor that principle, there's also this thing. And if you're listening, you just got to know, if you're going to be excellent, just like Rob's saying, if you are going to be excellent in some area of your life, it's going to require extremely hard work and moments and seasons of being out of balance. And, when I've competed, it's in jiu-jitsu, it's been one of those things that it wasn't natural for me. I didn't grow up competing. I didn't grow up wrestling. I didn't. So it was pretty abnormal. And all I could think about all the time was just, I could only think about, this guy's he's training to just annihilate you, And so, I'm waking up every morning, and dude, I'm pretty intense when I'm in like that mode. So out of balance, I'm writing on my mirror, like somebody's training to beat you today, stuff like that. Like I'm just in my head about it. And for most guys that do jiu-jitsu and train and compete all the time, they're like, dude, why? What's the big deal? It's just a tournament, But for me, I was so fixated on it that literally my first tournament, I was literally limping to the mat, because I overtrained. My ankle was tore up. My body was just beat down. I had no balance. It was pedal to the metal, like just go. And I learned that's not sustainable. And not only that, but I was not that healthy. Fast forward to the last tournament I did, I was definitely more balanced and was busy in life, so I didn't get to train very much. And man, it was my best tournament ever. And physically, I was healthy enough, but I wasn't beat up. My body was like intact, and it was the best tournament. And so I think there's a value of, this biblical value of Sabbath that is so important to really, think through. And in modern society, keeping up with the Joneses, is just, and that could mean a financial thing. Usually it does, things like,
but it could be anything. It could apply to anything.
It is, especially in a society where we are fixated on social media, because, back in the day, like if Rob competed in a jiu-jitsu tournament and he won gold, like his friends knew about it and we were all happy for him and we celebrated. But now it's all his Facebook friends and everybody, and now when Rob competes and he celebrates on Facebook, which he should,
which I don't,
but yeah, he's not a social media guy, but
for these reasons we're talking about.
But here's the thing, then I see that, and what does it do for me?
Exactly.
And really now I start to take on this, like, man, woe is me, either woe is me mentality, which could be the case. I start this comparison game, all these things, or I start to live this fake life on social media where I'm trying to project something I'm not. And who wants to do that, man? That's just not at all what I'm a part of, or what I value. But it goes back to trying to keep up. We're pushing this pace, and we just got to find time to take care of ourselves, to rest, to whether that's sleep at night. Man, Rob, you came in today, and subconsciously or not, your body was telling you, man, you needed rest.
Yeah, because exactly what happened today. My boss told me I had probably heavy work tomorrow, being today. So I woke up just like normal, 5:30, hit up my boss. He said, yeah, I might have you come in, just kind of hang out. I'll let you know. He got back to me. He's like, hey, it's kind of slow. Don't worry about it. So I went back to bed. I was back in bed by a little after 6 this morning. I slept for another 2 hours. I was up for a little bit, did a few things around the house, went grocery shopping, came home, ate lunch. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take another nap. I slept for like another hour.
Nice.
And man, I must never do that. And
but it's good, right?
It's good. See, that's where I struggle, man. Like, obviously my body needs it.
Yeah.
But I feel like a punk. I feel like a chump. Like, man, no, I should have been doing this. I should have been cleaning my house. I should have been working out. I should have been blah, blah, a million other things.
Yep.
I struggle with it.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to get these lessons taught to me, just life, the universe or God, whatever you want to say, just presents them to you. And, you're getting older and you need more sleep.
Yeah.
When you're 22 years old, you can cheat the system, so to speak, quite a bit.
Yeah.
You can get away. Your margin for error is pretty big. And 40 going on 41, like that margin's not as big.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, and I wear like a Fitbit at night and kind of track my sleep. And even like if I lay down, so like, by the time I get to bed to when my alarm is set, if that's 8 hours, you're not really getting 8 hours of sleep.
Not at all.
You toss and turn, you get up, go to the bathroom, whatever the case may be. And it's really surprising. I mean, obviously that Fitbit's not super accurate, but at least it gives you some sort of data to work with. Like I'll get in bed to where like, okay, I should have, if I was to fall asleep in a perfect world right away and then wake up when my alarm goes off, that would be 8.5 hours of sleep.
That'd be a dream.
That'd be exactly. Yeah. That doesn't happen. You you look at your stats when you wake up and you slept for maybe 6.
Yeah.
You were restless here, no deep sleep, so some REM sleep.
Yeah.
And that shows you like, you gotta respect that. You gotta make sure your lights in your house are dimmed down. Don't be messing around on your phone before you go to bed.
All those things.
All those
coffee.
But caffeine late in the day.
Dude, I'm doing caffeine I'm doing caffeine to go to bed sometimes, man. It's just like because I've really developed this, like, I'm sure it's this, I've become immune to caffeine to some degree, but man, I just enjoy coffee.
Right.
And so like, instead of, a lot of times I'll do tea, but man, at night, 9 o'clock, man, kids are in bed, Mary and I are up. I'm like, what do you feel like, coffee or tea? It's like a coffee night or a tea night. And then, dude, I'll go to bed.
You can buy decaf coffee. Right?
Yeah,
they do have a thing called decaf,
right? But it doesn't affect me that way now. Like
you probably should though. It's
probably a good thing.
You say it doesn't affect you,
but does it?
But I bet you it does.
Yeah,
I bet you it does. If you were to go into a lab and hook a bunch of electrodes up to you and you had some sleep scientists check you out, from you having a cup of coffee a half hour before you go to bed to not, I'm sure it affects the quality of your sleep.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. And hey, side tangent a little bit, but it's part of this is it's really on the topic, but it is a side rabbit hole for a quick minute. Have you ever done a personality test?
Yeah, it's been a long time. I think I have done one.
Have you ever heard of the Enneagram?
No.
Okay, that's kind of, I wouldn't call it newer. It was newer to me, like within the last couple years. You know.
Say that word again.
Enneagram.
Enneagram.
Yeah, Enneagram.
Okay.
So it basically, I'm not a guru when it comes to it, but it basically puts together like these 9 personality tests, and so or personality traits, or anyhow. When I'm hearing you talking, I'm like, oh, dude, I'm trying to I'm seeing this Enneagram, 1 and 2. I'm a 1 and 3. So for those of you that are out there, you're like, what's my Enneagram? Basically, I split 1 and 3. 1 is, what is it? The performer. It's type A personality, dude, is what it comes down to. Mm-hmm. That's the best way to describe it. And then 3 is this achiever mentality, which is this like driven. So it's like, it's type A mixed with driven. Like it's just all on, in other words, And so I can see, I'm playing hear you talk through just being driven about that, because, I'm talking to myself all the time. Like I'm, throughout my day, I'm, like you said, punk, like, dude,
suck it up.
Yeah, suck it up. And then I start telling myself like, would your brother do that? Would Rob do that?
Yep,
Would, nah, get, get yourself up, son. Like, you know, exactly. I get pretty harsh. In fact, my wife told me, and I appreciate this for today. She told me this morning, she's all, please take care of my Paul. And the way she said it, like text message, I know what she was saying. Cause dude, I'm just like, go, go, go. And so driven. And, I totally like need to find those moments of rest, you know? But anyhow, it got me curious to think like, what's Rob's Enneagram?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see.
I'm going to send it to you, man.
All
right. I think it's interesting to check out. You know, the thing about personality tests is they're not gospel, man. You know, and you're going to identify with some of it, and some of it you're going to go like, nah, that's not me. But I think it doesn't hurt to explore and like, you know, really kind of, you know, use it as a tool, if anything, to help you be a better person, you know, to help you better understand yourself, to help you better understand others, you know. But yeah, coping, coming back to this idea of Sabbath, it's definitely a life lesson, you know, and I think, like you said, you know, you can cheat it when you're younger, but it starts to catch up to you. And let me kind of speak to some of the habits I've developed over the course of my life. So I'm not always good at balancing this. I really am not. And there are times where my body just shuts down. Last night was a prime example. I mean, literally, I'm shut down. I'm shutting down physically last night, like falling asleep physically. And I'm still telling myself, you got more to do. So, I mean, that is a real life scenario for me last night. You know, but what I've really tried to implement is these moments where, you know, first of all, as a pastor, a lot of times, like, my work day is not in an office, you know, like, yeah, I go to the office and I do that. But really, the moment I wake up, I'm working. The moment I wake up, my phone is in front of me in today's world. My phone is in front of me. I'm thinking about, you know, who's going into surgery, or, you know, that was this week. You know, somebody is going to surgery Monday morning. I'm texting at 6 a.m. As soon as I'm waking up, I'm like, hey, praying for you this morning, brother. Just want you to know, like, and that's like, my day starts like that. It doesn't start when I get to the office at, you know, 9 or whatever. And then the same thing is true about when I leave the office, you know, like if I work from home on Thursdays, I typically work from home. This week, yesterday, I was actually, had to be in the office. We were doing some strategic planning, and so I was there. So today ended up being my work from home day. But the point is that, like, I've tried to find these, because that pace is so heavy, and because there's not this just, you know, you go into the office, you leave, or you get in the truck, you drive, you do your route, you come home, you park your truck, you go home. Like, for me, I feel like a lot of times it's just invasive. It's always there. That's one of the reasons I don't do a lot of social media, because honestly, I feel like I'm working when I'm on social media. I'm going to do a whole video on that, on YouTube, but you know, a lot of people wonder, why don't you get on Facebook so much? And the point for me, what it comes down to is sometimes I feel like it's work. And I know it's probably the wrong way to think.
No, I can see that.
But it's like catching up with people's lives. It's trying to find out, you know, who's going through crisis. And then if I miss something, you know, like, you know, in modern society, it's like, well, I put it on Facebook, and it's like, man, I didn't see it on, you know, I don't know what's going on in your life. If you want me to know, like, call me, text me, whatever, you know, but it's a fast pace, and I really tried to make a weekly Sabbath, you know, like I usually don't get 2 days off a week, but I try to take that one day. And for me, the one day is Monday. And what I'll do, it's not that I never work on Mondays. You know, I'm not trying to paint the picture perfect view of my life, because it's far from that. But on Mondays, I truly try to check out. And so, you know, a lot of times if I get a call about something on Monday, I'll ignore it. And dude, so
you say check out from like work responsibility.
Yeah. And really then I end up checking out from life. Mm-hmm. And, you know, here's the weird thing is, like, even with jiu-jitsu, Monday is a flex day for me for jiu-jitsu. I don't always do Mondays. And part of it is that sometimes I'm just so burnt on being with people that even in that, I just can't go to jiu-jitsu. And I know it's hard for people to understand, because it's like, you know, but it's jiu-jitsu, it refuels you. And it does. It is one of those things. But sometimes on Mondays, I just can't, I can't do any more people. And so I don't answer phone calls or text messages if they're work related for sure. You know, about the only time that I'm going to really, really respond to something like on a Monday is if there's death involved. And if I've got somebody that's, hey, this is a crisis situation, I'm in the hospital, you know, I'm losing somebody, like I'm responding, you know, because that's
life.
That's life.
Yeah.
But unless it's that extreme, and a lot of times people in their crisis, they'll call you. And then by Tuesday morning, when I'm back on, the crisis is over.
Right.
And it's been averted in some way, shape, or form. And so I try to take that Monday to really check out from phone, people. Again, not always the best at it, but I try to find that one day a week where for me it's unplug. And, you know, I have other flex days. My schedule is flexible. I get to do things that a lot of people wouldn't be able to do, you know. And Saturday becomes a very much of a flex day for me. But I don't guard it like I do Monday, you know. I guard Monday. So that's one of the things I try to do weekly. You know, I try to do things throughout the year as well, though, where I really take like what I call prayer retreats. You know, it's just an extended Sabbath. Sometimes I'll do that by myself. I'll go up on the mountain by myself. And, you know, for people who are people, they're extroverts. They're like, dude, I can't understand you going up there by yourself. And I'm just like, you got to understand, man. Like for me, being alone. Oh, hi, everybody. I don't know if you guys probably didn't hear that, but we heard it in our ear. That'd be a text message coming through my phone.
Why do we hear that in headphones?
Because it's on my computer.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure they heard it. If we heard it like that in our headphones, I'm sure they heard it.
I think it's you guys are probably going, we didn't hear that. we're gonna have to play that back. But either way, it's cool. But see what I'm saying? Like it's always on, and you realize like there's always something. And so I've tried to find these moments where for me it's get away. It's like I definitely have these times where I just will cut out. I'll be alone. Go fishing. Sometimes it's just hiking. But I really try to find those moments. The other thing I do is with my wife, we'll have those moments where we get away, and it's not necessarily like no kids and there's no agenda, but we'll get away. We'll pray, we'll plan, we'll talk through things, but it's really just a moment of kind of, you know, white noise space, you know, where you just get away, check out, unplug. And so we try to do those things a couple times a year, you know, where we just get away. Again, I think I could be more strategic about, you know, penciling it in at the beginning of the year, you know, and saying, hey, these are the dates and this is where I'm cutting out. This is what I'm doing. But I just try to make those things happen. And it's, you know, I think we've been good at it, like in terms of making it happen. And then something I've done on the bigger scale is like every 7 years or so. And I really take an extended Sabbath. And so I did this last year actually. And last year I had 5 weeks off from work and just checked out. Like literally, you know, there was, you know, with my assistant and the team, they just knew, just don't bother him unless somebody's dying. He'll find out about it when he gets back. And really, it was so good for me. It was good for me. Now, of course, my wife didn't have the same luxury, but she also took vacation during that time. My kids took vacation during that time. But man, I had 5 weeks of just being completely checked out. And I can't tell you how valuable it was or is, you know. However, you know, it doesn't take long. You get back in and you realize that like, well, okay, this is a heavy pace. Actually, no, that wasn't this last year. See, tells you how fast the pace goes. It was the summer before. But yeah, being able to be 5, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Well, either way, that extended period of time, which not everybody could do that.
And most people don't have that luxury.
Yeah.
You know, with jobs and whatnot.
It's definitely a luxury, but being able to do it for me was, a luxury, but it was also one of those resetting moments for me, because I'll take time to read, I'll take time to pray, I'll take time to write in a journal and just my thoughts, and not overly planning, but just processing, because the fast-paced nature of life, we don't stop to think about things, until our bodies force us, whether we're just tired or we get sick, we get injured in jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
I came off an injury not too long ago, and literally I was in one of those, probably like, I don't know, several, if not 5 days. I think I even hit a couple weeks, 6 days a week, jiu-jitsu. And not that I'm always doing that, but it was definitely a good pace in that season. And sure enough, I ended up with an injury. And it was not a little one, man. This was a 6-weeker that was like, I was out, man. There was no way I was doing jiu-jitsu. The funny thing about that is I get injured on a Monday. No. It was a Friday, actually. I took the weekend off, and I was feeling that same feeling of just like, I need to check out. So Monday, I cut out by myself to the mountains, and I go fishing. And I'm by myself, man. It was a great time. Well, I'm walking around unstable. I mean, I have a groin injury. I'm walking around unstable ground as it is. I think I aggravated it more.
I'm sure you did.
Because then by Wednesday of that week, that morning, I could not get out of bed. It was like, so yeah, your body tells you, okay, all right, I guess you're gonna realize that you need to slow down, whether that's an injury, whether that's just being overly tired. But man, I think the takeaway for me is really to find ways to schedule in your rest.
That's the lesson I was going to ask. Excuse me. Yeah, basically, so what you're saying is, or what you're suggesting is, because today everything's so fast paced nowadays that if you don't take the time to actually schedule it in, pencil it in your calendar or whatever, set that time aside, like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
If you just say to yourself, the opportunity will present itself to take a weekend off or take the day off.
Yeah.
And when you're wired like you and I, when that time comes, you're like, oh, I need to get this done.
Yeah.
I need to get this done.
Yeah.
To where if you put it in writing, like, no, this week or this day, this is a day for nothing or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
I know for me, that's if I want to implement something, I have to do it like that.
Yeah, schedule it in.
Because
force yourself.
Yep.
And I think, honestly, I would challenge anybody listening. I would even challenge you, is like to sit down, and think through, all right, here we are, February 21st-ish?
Yeah, 21st. Yeah, 21st, okay. I think. Yep.
And what I would say is, okay, mark out the next 12 months and look at the next year and just say, okay, I'm going to create 4 days, maybe it is, where I know I'm going to put it on my calendar right now, and I'm going to call it a white noise day. And basically it means I'm going to do something that day where I just check out. And when you commit to it that way, then like when that day comes, like, no, I've got this on the calendar, and I'm going to commit to that. And that may mean how you flesh that day out may look like, a number of things, because it could even be activity based.
Right.
It still could be that. It's not to say it can't be activity based, but it's got to be activity based at your pace. It can't feel obligatory. It can't feel this pressure of I've got to go and I've got to perform and I've got to be there. It has to be something that refuels you, Well, think about the word recreation, recreation. That's really, when you break down the word, it's like, I'm going to recreate myself. That's what recreation should be. It's like this recreation of yourself. And you're like, you know what? I'm burnt out. I need to get some time. I need to get some space because I've just been going at too rapid a pace. And again, that's weekly. That's trying to find these times, whether it's a day or a couple days, just checking out. One of the things I would like to do, and it sounds crazy, but I want to go to a monastery. And really, I don't think it's really because I'm a religious person or a Christ follower. I think that plays into it for sure. Like, but I don't want to be a monk. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have no desire. But like to get away in an environment that is completely designated for solitude and quiet and stillness and potentially even fasting from food and, you know, just being like in that space. I know that for some people that probably freaks them out. Like there's no way I would want to do something like that. But for me, I definitely want to do it. I actually found a place. It's up in up near Aspen, Snowmass area. Mm-hmm. And it's but they're booked out. Like you'd think, you know, yeah, you could just show up this weekend. No, they're like 6 months out or something.
Really?
Yeah, just to get in there. It's an actual monastery. I think I forget the name. I'm gonna mess it up. So, but yeah, it's a monastery. But yeah, that would definitely be something I would challenge people to do, is just find what is that for you? You know, what recreates you? How do you create some space? You know, another way to think through that is, you know, Rob's good at this. You know, you're not. Are you even on social media anymore? Nope. No, you're not, right?
I wish I would have wrote down the day that I like said that's it. Because there's been a couple of times I'm like, all right, I'm not doing Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or anything anymore. And then I'll get back on it. Then, no, I'm not doing it anymore. I went back and forth over the past few years. Uh-huh. But finally, man, it's been over a year since I like said, I just pulled the plug. I'm like, that's it. I think I had a friend of mine look up my Instagram account because like I tried to delete it or like shut it off. I think it's still on there. But okay. I didn't care enough to like go in there and delete it. Yeah. Like my Facebook was turned off, Twitter's turned off. Like I think if you go look for it, you can't find it. Yeah. And yeah, it's been way over a year, and it's fantastic.
It is. And dude, what I would say is maybe not everybody listening, because you're probably finding us through social media anyway, which is ironic. But I'm not saying like get off of social media, but you know, maybe you do need to do that. But what I would say to everybody that is engaged in social media is take a break. You know, speaking of FOMO, that's what drives us towards that social media. It's like, what are we missing out on? And, you know, the truth is like, take a week, take 30 days, take, you know, 21 days, take a period of time and say, I'm not getting on, and don't even post about it. Don't be that person, man. I'm getting off of social media for a while, and then you're back on in 2 days. Don't do that. Just quietly walk away, and it'll be good for you.
And if you need a little, if you need to stoke the fire, so to speak, as to why you should do it, go grab your phone, and if you look, you know, I know on the iPhone you can go look at like the battery life. Yep. And it'll tell you which app. Mm-hmm. The percentage of battery has been using the most. Yeah. Or how much screen time, breaks it down, screen time or battery life, like how much time you've been spending on Facebook or Instagram. Yeah. And really think to yourself, like, it'll be shocking to a lot of people how much time they spend on it. And then think to yourself, like, dude, is that adding any value to my life? Yep. Except for entertainment. For most years, there's people that, you know, earn a living, and need to use social media a little bit. I get that. Yeah. But above and beyond that, is that if you're not doing that, if you're just an average Joe and you're not using it for income, how much time are you spending on it, and what value is it adding to your life? Yeah. I would say probably nothing. Yeah, I mean, not a thing, dude. You
know, I think the most value that I get out of social media ends up being, and I'm not even on. I have a Twitter account. I haven't been on there in years. I don't have Instagram. I'm on YouTube. I spend a lot of time on YouTube now with just kind of this new season I'm in. But Facebook, when I'm on there, I find that I end up spending a lot of my time there really in groups. Like it's interactions inside of groups. Like, you know, the gym. You know, we have a group and it'll be like, hey, who's training, or anybody want to have an early session? You know, it's that kind of stuff. That's where I tend to see where the value of it. But in terms of just sitting there and scrolling, And, you know, it just can be such a waste of time.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I kept it for a while, was for that training purpose, because we have, it's called the Ninjas page,
Yep.
you know, the Grand Valley BJJ Ninjas page. And we would coordinate trainings through that page, and that made it a very convenient thing.
Yeah.
And that was a big reason I kept Facebook for a long time, because of that. And then finally I was like, dude, I don't even care enough, man.
Yeah.
I just started collecting people's phone numbers.
Yep. And it worked. Look at, we had a Sunday night session.
It works just fine.
When was it? A couple weeks ago?
We had 15 people show up or something.
Yeah.
It works just fine, man. And I was concerned about that, and I'm sure I do miss out on some training sessions because people don't text me.
Yeah.
They post it on, oh, we're gonna do 6 a.m. and they put it up on that Ninjas page, but oh well.
Yeah.
So be it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a good, easy thing for people to do, is really just take that time, say, hey, you know what? I'm going to cut out some social media in my life. I mean, it really can add some real value to you. I plan on doing a whole a video on that. And, you know, the thing is, there's a lot of, I mean, just jump on YouTube and search, you know, minimalism and when it comes to social media and things like that, you know, or digital minimalism, and you're going to find a lot of stuff that's going to give you some good ideas. But the point is really trying to, in this fast-paced life that we live, trying to find a sense of peace, taking care of yourself. You know, I just did a video about this, actually. And the title of the video was, are you taking care of yourself? And what I talked about in there is that, you know, Jesus said, you know, the greatest commandments really come down to this: love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. And the point is that you can't love your neighbor, you can't love God if you don't love yourself. Like, it's this, you really have to and when I say that, people hear narcissism, they hear self-centeredness. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is you have to take care of yourself. You have to, in fact, we do that every day. We feed ourselves, we bathe ourselves, like we care for ourselves. But the point is that ultimately you've got to find times to take care of yourself. You know, one of the things I do, and I show it in the video, I even take a little journey. We go, you know, check out the barbershop, is I go to my good friend Greg and go to the barber, and it's an experience. It's not just like I'm gonna go get a quick cut. It's an experience, you know, and I go and I get a good cut and we chop it up and we talk, and you know, it's just one of those moments where for me it's a checkout moment. And I'm, you know, while I'm sitting in that chair, you know, there's only one thing I'm doing. I'm sitting there. My phone is off. You know, I'm not catching any of the stuff that's going on with my phone. And, you know, it's just one of those moments that, you know, I really find to just take care of myself. And so the video was all about that. But the question for us today is really that, like, are you taking care of yourself? And are you finding these moments of Sabbath? I'll be the first to admit, I'm not always good at that. And at the end of that, there's, you know, you talked about it. There's relational breakdown. There's emotional breakdowns. There's, there's nothing like getting short with people when you know that it's not about them. And then you walk away from that and you're like, dude, you're such a jerk. And that was all about you. That was about you. And, you know, the fact that you're overworked, you're tired, you're, you know, in the moment you're feeling jaded or whatever. And it's about you. And, so to avert some of those crises in life and to avert some of that tension that we might feel, we have to find ways to take care of ourselves. We have to get up on, you know, Silverton Mountain, man. That sounds epic. And you got to find those moments. So speaking of mountains, gonna come back to a few episodes ago. We committed to doing Mount Blanca.
Yeah, I actually bought a good book about all the 14ers here in Colorado, so I've been researching it.
Nice.
Oh yeah, we're doing it this summer.
So
we got to set a date.
So this is it right here. Okay. This is our moment. I would like to see if we can shoot for that first weekend of August.
Okay.
And the only reason that comes to mind is weather-wise. I think that's about where we need to be for that peak.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be.
You got to do it late in the summer.
Yeah,
let the snow melt off. All that good stuff. Yep.
So
first weekend in August.
First weekend in August.
How many day trip are we thinking of doing?
Well, an overnighter for sure.
Yeah,
so travel.
We got to drive there, stay the night.
Yep. Overnighter.
Wake up early.
Yep.
Hike it, and then maybe stay the night again.
Actually maybe 2 nights.
Probably 3
days.
Depending on how tired we are. Stay the night again, and then drive back the next day.
Yeah.
Go. It's like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday thing.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Boom.
And
that sounds like a good deal to me.
So, and I know, like I mentioned it I think on a Sunday, and we have a couple avid hikers. In fact, we have a group at the church that that's their group. So their small group experience, instead of doing like a Bible study, they do a hiking group. And so their last year, they finished their group with doing like a 14er of, I don't know which one. I punked out, I was too busy. And, but she, the group leader, she's like, yeah, if I mentioned it, she's like, I would love to do that with you. So, we may have a couple of people that want to go with us, man. But
let's do it.
I'm in.
Cool.
I'm in.
You said first weekend in August?
Yeah, first weekend in August.
Okay.
And it's one of those things that I think if you just don't get it on the calendar and create space for it, going back to exactly what we're talking about.
Exactly what we just said. Yep.
If you don't do it, you just won't make it happen.
Yep.
Yeah, you're hearing from a couple of guys that are pretty driven. We tend
to a fault.
Yeah, to a fault. I would definitely say to a fault. I think it's part of our Enneagram, even though we don't know Rob's Enneagram, but I can see it a little bit. And I think, to a fault. We just run to a pace that is not good to us. Actually, at the end of the day, it's not good being good to ourselves, and it's not good for those around us. It just it's not only a personality thing though, it's the culture, it's the society, it's the pressure that we live in right now. I think I don't know that it's ever, of course other generations might have said the same thing we're saying, but I just have to kind of only see it from my perspective and in my lens right now and say, man, people weren't connected to other people like we are with our phones and social media and just the fast-paced life that we live, I think is very different than 50 years ago, than 30 years ago for that matter. And so, yeah, any final thoughts on this fast-paced life and how to really mitigate it?
I think we said some good things. And unfortunately, I don't have any great answers because I keep screwing that up time and time again. Yeah. I'm going to keep screwing it up.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out eventually. I mean, I am a bit of a knucklehead, but I'm smart enough to sort it out.
Yeah.
And it's, I think, just my age and is what it's telling me. The universe is showing me these lessons, and I got to step back and take a look at them and take the lesson from it instead of just shoving it aside and being like, suck it up. You can do it.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see if I can follow if this is just lip service or if I can actually follow through. So.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Hey, that actually brings one thought to mind as we kind of wrap up today. And that is that, like, be a good friend. And what I mean by that is, like, if you see one of your friends that's super driven or overworked or pushing themselves too hard, be that person that would be like, hey, Rob, can I ask you how you're doing? And most of the times we would respond with like, I'm good. Mm-hmm. No, really. How are you doing, man? And I would say be that friend. We all need that friend. Somebody that's going to get in our face, check us a little bit and say, hey, you taking care of yourself? Are you doing all right? How you doing emotionally, physically, whatever that is? But be that friend. If you can't do it for yourself, be that friend for somebody else, and just really check in with them. I think that could be so valuable because you just never know what somebody's carrying. You never know.
Man, that's such a good point because I speaking for myself, and I'm assuming a lot of people out there that are like me. Sometimes you will purposely just get so busy and try to do so much stuff to squash those things. Like if someone was to ask you, really, no, how are you doing?
Yeah.
that could be an uncomfortable question.
Yeah.
And if you stay busy enough, you don't have to confront those things.
Yeah.
I'm speaking from experience.
Yep. Keep pushing it under the rug.
So you just keep pushing it under the rug. Like if you just stay busy, those nagging little thoughts or those things you should be addressing don't come up.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good thing to be that good friend. Like you see if you see a friend of yours just running himself into the ground, be like, hey man,
take it easy.
Yeah, take it easy.
Yeah, let's go grab a coffee.
Yeah, let's go grab a coffee, sort this out.
Yeah. So be a good friend and be good to yourself. That Sabbath idea wasn't for God. It was for us. We need it. We need rest. And whatever recharges you, man, set aside some time and do that. And I think that's a good stopping point.
I think it's good spot right there.
Yeah. So we'll catch you on the next episode, and always appreciate you tuning in, liking, subscribing, rating, sharing, all those things. We do appreciate it.
For sure.
Yeah. So till next time. Peace.
See you.